Hey everyone, Shabim here and welcome back to another random match here on WWE 2K19. This is a big one, one that I saw was so hyped about recording, and that is going to be Daniel Bryan versus Chris Benoit. First of all, it is the yes man himself, Mr. Daniel Bryan. And next up then is the crippler crossface, Mr. Toothless Aggression himself, Chris Benoit. Now this match is going to be an absolute technical masterclass, I can see that right now. But this match was suggested by Realize, so thank you very much for your suggestion. Of course, any of the suggestions, please do drop them down in the comment section down below. And of course, if your match does get pulled out the hat, you'll get a shout out in the process. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. I think Chris Benoit was never a wrestler I appreciated when I was younger. I mean, obviously, I started watching wrestling when I was in my early... Well, it was probably before I was a teenager. Probably like 9, 10-year-old. And that's just before Benoit. I think Benoit would have been around about when I was an early teenager. And to be honest, I never really appreciated what he was in the ring. I used to remember getting so annoyed every time he had a match because I just couldn't be bothered to watch a slow, methodical wrestler. I thought it was quite boring. I think I was much more into the high-flying cruiserweight wrestling back then. I loved all the Rey Mysterio and that sort of stuff. I thought it was great fun, all that sort of stuff. But as time's gone on and I've sort of learnt more of the other side of wrestling, the art form of wrestling, I think people like Chris Benoit are very much underrated in the past for their just in-ring ability, and they did pave the way for many a wrestler to step up of a smaller caliber, probably just like Daniel Bryan. I mean, that WrestleMania where Benoit and Guerrero both won the championships and both came out at the end and held their belts up high, that was a massive WrestleMania. That was the point where they sort of accepted that little men can be world champion, and yeah, Benoit, of course, was very much a stepping stone in that. Absolutely fantastic wrestler, and I'll readdress the same thing we address every single video that Benoit's in. You can't defend what he did outside the ring, but the way I've always looked at it is I don't like what he did outside the ring to determine what he was inside the ring. What happened to him was terrible, but you can't take away the fact that the guy was an absolutely incredible wrestler, and matches like these are dream matches. Nice armbar here by Chris Benoit, locking it in early on. And of course, by submitting your opponent, by doing these little simple maneuvers, you're not expecting to get the victory at this point in time in the match. But what you are doing is you are weakening that arm potentially for a later submission, but also you're weakening your opponent's submission. Of course, Daniel Bryan will really depend on those arms when he tries to lock in a bell lock later on in the match. And if those arms are weakened, his grip's not as tight, and therefore he can't put as much pressure on the submission hold. So it is much more difficult for him to do, and that's something that he will be looking to do with Benoit as well. Of course, both rocking variations of a crossface submission, so they know very, very well exactly what you need to lock that in and what you need to lock it in well. And by damaging the opponent's limbs, you can definitely just completely cancel out their potential offense in the future. Benoit sends Daniel Bryan back into the ring, slides in after him. I mean, I would like to do an Attitude Era style universe mode at some point. I don't think he got many votes, though. It was a bit disappointing for me, but it's the sort of thing that I would like to do, and utilising people like this. And it looks like the random match is going to get a little bit more random, as we do have an interference of music of some sort, but no one's actually here. So I don't quite know who that was as interfered, but either way, Daniel Bryan is going to take advantage. Let's just say it was Eric Rowan. Let's go for a little bit of realistic storyline. Eric Rowan distracting Chris Benoit, allowing Daniel Bryan to hit that running knee strike. There's the pin by Bryan. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. Chris Benoit was able to kick out just in time. Daniel Bryan now stalking Chris Benoit. Benoit kicks him away. But Daniel Bryan fighting back with the jawbreaker, and my PlayStation is going absolutely crazy. It's really struggling with the heat, I think. Daniel Bryan now trying to get Benoit in the back, but catch him in that back elbow, then into a snap suplex. And now Benoit gets behind Daniel Bryan, looking for the trio of Germans, but Daniel Bryan able to break free. A big boot across the chest by Bryan now sends Benoit into the corner once again. And Daniel Bryan mounts Benoit, looking for the 10 corner strikes as the crowd count along. But Benoit able to throw Daniel Bryan away before he was able to complete the full amount. Bryan now with the Northern Light suplex. There's the bridge, only enough for a 2 count. Bryan now locking in that cross-arm bar on Chris Benoit. And again, very much like Benoit earlier in the match, you're being smart here because you're weakening that arm potentially for that submission later on. So Benoit won't be able to lock it in as aggressively as he would like to. I think Benoit is a bit more reliant on the crippler crossface than Bryan is on the label lock. Of course, Bryan does use that running knee striker. But Benoit, I don't recall having much of a alternative finish to that crossface. I mean, he used to use the diving headbutt, but that wasn't really a finish. It was more of a signature maneuver. So it always seemed to come down to that crippler crossface submission. I might have to watch that Mania. I mean, I don't even think I've ever seen it before, to be honest. But the Mania with, is it Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels in the main event? I can imagine that must be amazing. I mean, there was like a period of time where I stopped watching wrestling for about sort of 5-6 years. I must have been, and I missed a lot of this amazing stuff. I missed Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. I missed the first 2 Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker matches. I missed a lot, and I need to go back at some point and watch it. But I spend all my time making these videos. I don't get a chance to watch anything. We'll get there eventually. I need to. I need to start watching NXT more. I need to start watching NXT UK. I need to start watching 205 Live. I need to start watching MLW. Watch more New Japan pay-per-views. I need to do everything. Where's the time? I need to win the lottery so I can make just watching wrestling a full-time profession. That would work for me. Benoit runs in now. Big clothesline in the corner on Daniel Bryan. Benoit brings Bryan now back up to his feet. Benoit taking Bryan up into a vertical suplex. And locking in that cross armbar once again. Definitely trying to weaken that arm. And Bryan is able to break free once again. But you see Bryan holding that arm. The damage has been done. Benoit, nice dropping Bryan neck first across that top rope. And then Bryan fighting back with the boot in the face. Now Bryan stalking the ground. And Benoit, is he going to look to lock in the... No, he was looking for it, I think. But Benoit caught him with that stiff right hand. And that's busted Daniel Bryan open there into a gut buster. Wow. Benoit brings Bryan back up to his feet. Now gets on the back. German keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Second German keeps the grip, rolls the hip. It's the trifecta of German suplexes by Chris Benoit on Daniel Bryan. Now looking for the pin. Will this be enough? Maybe not thinking he's got enough in the arm to lock in that crippler crossface after damage done earlier by Bryan. But Bryan is able to kick out, and now it looks like Benoit is going to have to resort to that crippler crossface. Stalking Daniel Bryan, takes him down, locks the arm, and there is the crippler crossface. But straight away, Daniel Bryan able to roll it through. Of course, Daniel Bryan knows that submission very, very well, because it's his own submission, more or less, apart from the positioning of the arm. And if you remember the old Daniel Bryan, the very original Daniel Bryan, he was known as the man who knew 1,000 submissions and the man who knew the way to get out of every of those submissions as well. Daniel Bryan with a boot in the gut of Benoit. Now gets on the back. German suplex of his own and folds him in half. Benoit Northern Light suplex on Daniel Bryan. And I tell you what, Realize, you have picked an absolutely incredible match. This has been so good so far. And it just looks to be getting better and better and better at this point in time. Benoit now rolling with a gator rolls on Daniel Bryan, now locking in that crossface. But he hasn't got the arm hooked. It's not quite as much pressure as he would have hoped to have locked in. Benoit now brings Bryan back up to his feet. Stiff right hand by Bryan. I think Benoit's been busted open as well. I'll tell you what, if there's one thing Benoit does not need, it's more blows to the head. Bryan now locking that arm, but Benoit fighting his way back up to his feet. Stiff right hand once again to the side of the face of Daniel Bryan and into a neck breaker. Oh, Bryan fighting back with a boot in the face of Benoit. Benoit sends Bryan off the ropes into a drop kick. Lovely. Only a 2 count once again, though. Benoit with the boots right in the gut of Daniel Bryan. And Benoit is in control of this match at this point in time. Benoit brings Bryan back up to his feet. Big chop. Bryan fighting back, then a stiff clothesline. The crowd absolutely loving that. The yes chants kick in. And Daniel Bryan kicks right into Chris Benoit. Rotating with those arms. And an arm breaker there by Daniel Bryan. Now stalking the grounded Chris Benoit. But he's just far too close to the ropes, is he? Oh no, I think he might have pulled this off actually. He's got him perfectly positioned. Quite far away from all the ropes. Is Bryan going to be able to make Benoit submit, or is Benoit able to fight free from this? It looks like Benoit has been able to break the grip of Daniel Bryan. He's back up on his feet, but as you see, the holding the arm himself. The damage must have been done. Big back elbow there by Bryan. Benoit sent him into the corner, absolutely full blast. So Bryan can bounce him back. Cross armbar once again by Chris Benoit. But Bryan able to break free. But again, you see him holding his arm. The damage has been done. Big chop by Benoit. Right hand as well. Now Benoit brings Bryan away from the ropes into a backdrop. You see that blood has pulled on the chest of Benoit now. Obviously been cut open quite badly. There's a German, keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Second German, keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Trifecta of German suplexes, vintage Chris Benoit. But does he have enough to finish off Daniel Bryan? He doesn't. Dragon screw by Daniel Bryan. Realise, man, you've really pulled it out the bag with this match. It's been amazing so far. Daniel Bryan looking for that flying goat, the diving headbutt, a similar move to what Benoit uses. There's the pin. 1, 2. It's only a 2 count. You would have to imagine, that Daniel Bryan would probably... this might be a really stupid thing I'm about to say because it's probably really common knowledge, but you must think that Daniel Bryan must sort of model himself slightly on Benoit. The technical wrestling, I mean the finisher maneuver, the crossface, the diving headbutt. They're always a very similar moveset to Benoit, so it must be a case. I know it's probably very common knowledge, but I don't know anything about it, to be honest. Because Benoit mounts the top himself, and there's a diving headbutt himself on Daniel Bryan. Goes into the pin. Will that be the straw that breaks the camel's back? It will not. It's still only a 2 count. Benoit can't believe it. He thought he had the match won there and then. And he needs to have it done there and then, because the longer this match goes, the more blood Benoit is losing. And the more blood Benoit loses, there's just liquid energy running from the face. Daniel Bryan out of nowhere, running knee strike. But Benoit so smart to roll out of the ring. So smart. And Benoit is back on his feet on the outside. Benoit now just taking... Ooh, that was loud. Taking control. My computer's made a really loud noise. Benoit taking Bryan up onto his shoulders. He's going to drop him face first across the apron. The referee's count gets higher and higher. I'm hoping not for a double count out here. Not in this match. It's been so good. It warrants a better finish than that. Benoit went for the clothesline. Bryan ducked it. Benoit now with a boot in the gut. And now taking Daniel Bryan up. Bryan fights back with a knee right in the face, in that gashed forehead. of Benoit. There's a butterfly suplex. I'll tell you what, this is very much getting along the lines of one of the best matches we've seen on this game, you know. Not just random match-wise, but even universe mode as well. It's been a real top quality so far between two absolutely incredible wrestlers. Very similar styles, very similar movesets, and we knew it was going to be fantastic as there is the label lock locked in. Bryan has Benoit. Benoit's not too far away from the ropes, but can he move himself across the ring? Does he have the energy left? He doesn't, but he does have the energy left to break the grip of Daniel Bryan once again. Like I said, those arm bars on Bryan earlier on have caused damage to Bryan's arms, and he just can't seem to lock that submission with enough venom to get the submission hold. Benoit rolls Bryan through with that sunset flip off the top. Right there for a 2 count still though. So take something more impressive than that to get the victory here. Benoit trips over by Daniel Bryan. Bryan now slamming the arm of Benoit into the mat. Benoit wrenching back at the arm of Benoit. Bryan wrenching back at the arm of Benoit now. Once again, just trying to insert more pain into that arm. Trying to remove the blood from that arm, making it weaker. Just to stop any chance of Benoit locking in the crippler crossface on Bryan as well. It's been a very interesting, both offensive and defensive match as Bryan now... Come on, Bryan, you've been out injured for a couple of years. Don't do something stupid like this. He did, and he completely missed. And he crashed, and he burned. Ooh, chop across the neck there by Daniel Bryan, and Benoit catches him with the elbow in the knee. Benoit now once again sending Bryan back into the ring. Big elbow across the forehead. Both these guys bleeding quite profusely now. Benoit heads up top. We're going to see another diving headbutt potentially. No, it's an elbow drop. Okay. It's like Chris Benoit trying to bring in different things out of his arsenal. And we're going to see... Well, there's been some different things out of the arsenal. For the third time in the match, he keeps the grip. He rolls the hip for the German suplexes. A trifecta of German suplexes, that is. Benoit now brings Bryan back up to his feet. Misses the right hand. And Daniel Bryan sends Benoit face first into the mat. This match I don't think is ever going to end. It looks like an Iron Man match at this point in time. Oh, nice Shining Wizard by Daniel Bryan on Benoit now. Bryan looking to change up his arsenal a little bit. Dropping the boots in the back of the knee in the surfboard position. Benoit fighting back the boot in the knee of Daniel Bryan. A boot in the gut before taking him up into a snap suplex. Once again, Benoit brings Bryan back up. Into the corner goes Benoit, and Bryan catches him with that running drop kick. Back into the corner, a second drop kick. Benoit drops to the ground. Daniel Bryan looks for the pin. Is that the straw that breaks the camel's back of this match? No, it's not. Benoit kicks out and this match continues on. My word, Realize, you were really on it then with this suggestion, weren't you? Tornado DDT by Chris Benoit and Daniel Bryan. There's the pin. Don't be one of those matches. Don't be one of those matches. It's not. I was going to say one of those matches like we saw with women's match not too long ago where it's an incredible match, lots of cool stuff happens, lots of big finishes, and it ends up being something really simple that finishes it. Benoit up top, looking for that diving headbutt for the second time in this match. See Benoit struggling, that's taking a lot out of him as well. There's the pin. Look at the forehead of Chris Benoit. The blood is absolutely streaming from both these competitors now. This match cannot go much longer. Oh, another headbutt by Chris Benoit on Daniel Bryan. And now wrenching back at the arms. A pin once again. 1, 2. It's still only a 2 count. I feel like it's going to be... It's going to be something special to finish. It's going to be another submission, I think, that's going to finish it, isn't it? Big forearm there by Benoit on Bryan. Then a running forearm as well. And Bryan drops to the outside. Trying to get a little bit of a breather. Benoit's going to follow him out there, though. And Bryan catches Benoit, who rolls him through. I think Bryan was going to go for a German suplex almost into the barrier by the looks of it. Bryan, catches Benoit. with that jawbreaker across the top rope, and now the boot and the calf dropping Benoit down to his knees, and then Bryan rains across his chest with the strikes, ended by a massive roundhouse. That could have knocked Chris Benoit clean out. 1, 2, and 3. Those kicks did knock Benoit clean out. What a freaking match. What a freaking match that was. Well done, Realise. I think you might have won an award for the best match of this random match season so far. That was just incredible, that was. I mean, two guys, great chemistry in ring. Very similar styles, very similar movesets. We saw finishes galore. We saw near finishes. It was just great all round. It was a long match, but not to the point where, you know, sometimes long matches are just pointlessly long. They're long for no reason. This match was long, but it was fantastic in the process. Lots of action, lots of back and forth. Either of these two guys could have won it, but in the end, it is Daniel Bryan, the yes man, with the victory. Well, there we go, people. That is the end of this match and the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do consider hitting that like button. If you are new around here, then make sure you hit that subscribe button for more random matches, as well as our Universe Mode content. And we recently started Fire Pro Wrestling as well. We'll be doing some interesting stuff with that coming up. I've been Shepard Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon for our next random match here on WWE 2K19. Bye.